Hi everybody, welcome back to WDMD 100. This is lesson 17. I have a quick announcement before we jump into the lecture. We will be meeting in the classroom 1 week from today. That is on November 11th. That is also an exam day. That is your exam 2. I believe the exam will be a little shorter than the last one. Make sure you pay attention to the items in bold that are in the assigned readings and whatnot. Everything that's in the lectures that are in under the exam 2 folder in D2L. What else? There's something else I wanted to announce and now I can't remember what it was. Either way, make sure you watch the news section of our class in D2L. I listed in there already that we're going to be in the classroom in 1 week, and that'll be the exam date as well. And we will have, again, a little review session right before the exam itself. And hopefully you guys do well. So this is going to be actually the last lecture that is on exam 2. And then on Thursday, we'll be starting everything as exam 3 material, or the final exam, which is not cumulative. So with that, let's go into the slides. Here we are. So, in talking about website design, considering the actual design of the page, you really have only less than 4 seconds to make your first impression. So think about when you're actually going to different web pages, if you're trying to search for something and whatnot, and you go on different websites and you know that what you're looking for isn't exactly, I'll change my tabs here. You know, what you're looking for isn't exactly what you see on the page. Maybe you have, you're looking for a certain pair of shoes, and it doesn't take you more than 4 seconds to evaluate what you're looking at on the page and whether it's going to work for you or not. So let's look at a couple websites. What are your first impressions? In less than 4 seconds, what do you think about this site? So that right there was about 4 seconds. I can tell you that it was, a financial looking website. It looks legitimate. I want to go back to it. Just, it looks legitimate. It looks professional. Probably someone I would do business with, but maybe not, after some evaluation. The site isn't all that modern. Let's try another one. Let's do this one, Baby Cake Shop. What about this? Looks appealing. Maybe you want to buy some cake pops, some sort of cake suckers, right? That was more than 4 seconds. So do you remember what the site looked like? Was it appealing? Is it what you're looking for? This one isn't too bad. Nick.com. Took a little while for it to load. Oh my, advertisements. And noise, that usually drives people away right away. There's some interesting navigation. But that's less than 4 seconds, so would you stay here? I probably wouldn't, not with that ad that popped up, right? There's another one, Ally Bank. This looks like a legitimate bank. Someone I would probably trust my money with. It's purple, which is a little different color for a bank website. Usually they're like blue and green. How about this one? Less than 4 seconds. You got Wisconsin Outdoor Fun, which is partially a newspaper's website. That seems okay. So that just gives you a sense of how long it takes a visitor to your website to actually evaluate the site. It's not very long at all. So when you're building a site, you have to be considerate of that. Make sure you design something that's appealing, that isn't going to drive somebody away. As in, for instance, that the ad that showed up on the Nickelodeon site, that one probably would have annoyed me and made me click off of it right away. Because sometimes people are looking at these pages too while they're sitting at work, and if they have their speakers on and loud music starts playing, it's screaming, "Whoa, you're not working, you're browsing the web." So, excuse me. So, make sure that if you're building a website, it's appealing to users. Now, remember that your home page is not always the page that people are going to end up in your website on either. They could end up on a page that's about you as their first page. They could end up as on a contact page as the first page rather than the home page. So it's not always true that they enter through the actual home page. And that's something also to keep in mind as you design the website. All of the pages should be nice and appealing. So let's go on with the slides. There it is. We're going to talk a little bit about DNS. So remember I said earlier that everything on the internet has a unique IP address, but when we're going to a website, because websites have their own IP address as well, we don't type in the actual IP address to go there. You would never remember that Facebook was 270.169.31.55. Well, some of us might if we go to Facebook a lot, but it's a lot easier for us to type in just facebook.com into the browser. So what is DNS and how does it work? Well, DNS stands for Domain Name System, and I want you guys to watch this little YouTube video. It's about 6 minutes long, and I'll post it as well, so you can pause this and watch a little YouTube video on how DNS works. And what it does is it translates a domain name into an IP address. So go ahead and watch that video now. And then when you're finished, you can come back here. Okay, so I'm assuming you watched the 6-minute video on DNS. I'll draw you out a little demo of how it actually works. Let's see if I can draw here. Okay, so, boy, I should have gone on something with a little different background, but anyways, so let's say this is you, and what you do is you type into your browser, you type in facebook.com. You want to go to Facebook. So you type in www.facebook.com into your browser, and your browser asks itself, do I already know where Facebook is located? And that is because if you visit it a lot, the location will be in what's called the cache. And your browser will cache pages so that it's easier, it's much quicker for you to access them in the future if it's something that you go to a lot. If your cache does not have it, Facebook will ask, it'll usually go to an intermediate, like your internet service provider. And your internet service provider will have its own DNS server. We're going to call this a server. ISP is your internet service provider. And your browser is going to ask your internet service provider, hey, do you know where Facebook is? And your internet service provider is going to also look in its cache. And it's going to say, nope, I don't know where it is. It's not in my cache. But I can point you in the direction of the root domain server, which I'm going to draw like the Superman symbol, because this is the master server of all things on the web. That knows where everything is. And so your internet service provider is going to point you in that direction, and you're going to say, hey, root web server, do you know where facebook.com is? And the root server is going to say, nope, but I can tell you where its top-level domain server is, which the top-level domain servers are, it's a bunch of servers that one will control like .coms, one will control .orgs, one will control .nets. So it's going to send you to the .com server. This is the .com because we're looking for facebook.com. You're going to say, hey, server, where's facebook.com? And the top level domain server is going to say, it's right here. Ta-da! Can't write Facebook. Ta-da! There's Facebook, and it's going to point you in the direction of Facebook's server, web server. And so Facebook's web server can then go back to you and say, oh, you're looking for facebook.com. Here's all the HTML pages for facebook.com. Right? It sends them all back to you. All back to you right there. And, and at that point, your browser will render facebook.com and you can see it and spy on all your friends. Right? And that's how DNS works. And it actually works really, really fast. It's within the blink of an eye, because it's, if your internet service provider doesn't know, it knows the root domain will know, the root server will send you to the top level domain servers, which are the .com. There's a server that controls all the .coms, all the .orgs, and then they'll point you in the right direction to the actual web server that hosts the website. And then that web server, once you request the page from it, will send you the web page back, and you can see it. So that's essentially how DNS works. So I can stop drawing here. There we go. No? Oh, it's going to keep my drawing backwards on the screen. Then I guess we can erase that. Maybe. Doesn't want to erase it. There we go. Okay, so that is how DNS basically works. It maps the domain name and gets you the actual IP address of that domain. Okay. There we go. All right. Back in business. So, when you want to put together a website of your own, the first thing that you probably want to do is you want to buy yourself a domain. Now, even though when you buy the domain, you own it because nobody else can use the domain, really, technically you lease it. And this is because you pay a yearly fee to have that domain. And the actual organization that controls all the domains is ICANN, or the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. They're the ones that can dish out the domain for sale. Overall, it's a boy, I spelled organization wrong there. It's a nonprofit organization responsible for managing the domain name system. So ICANN, and you can kind of see this. Let me switch to the browser where you can actually buy a domain, which we will probably actually do here. let's just go to GoDaddy.com. And GoDaddy is a very common place to buy domain names. I don't particularly recommend them because they sometimes have some shady web practices. Like if you search for a certain domain like WDMD100.org and then you don't buy it, and the next day you search for WDMD100.org, it could be twice the price because they know that you've searched for it already and they decided to kind of price fix and make you pay more for it. So let's see if we can buy WDMD100.org. And yes, we can. It is available for $9 a year. It's not too bad. And see, I can actually, if you're searching for domains, you know, you can look for pickles.com. All right, so, and here's, you can buy pickles.net, pickles.com is not available, you can buy pickles.guru. So all of these new top level domains like .guru, you know, we used to only have like .com, .net, .org. And now there's all sorts of different ones. There's .guru, .co, .lawyer, .io, .company, .care, .tips. And they all go on and on and on. .buzz, pickles.menu. So if you had a restaurant, you could buy a .menu address. That one's $50. Pickles.ninja, Pickles Expert. So all of these top level domains are probably see more and more of them coming up in the future. So rather than everything being .com, you know, in the future, we're probably going to be more used to things being, you know, something other than .com, because all of the .coms are pretty much taken. So there are all over. And then different suggestions on Pickles Productions. These get expensive. But Picklestock.com is $2,500. Yikes. I once did this on my own name, which was actually my maiden name, which was Kim Larson. And at one point, I could have bought KimLarson.com for like $9.99. Now it's $18.88. I must have become really popular. I don't know if my new one is any cheaper, but it's kind of funny. So if your domain name, if your domain name or if your actual name is available, you might want to get it, because then in the future when you actually want it, it might be $1,800 and you can't afford it, right? Okay, so when you buy your domain, you have the option to protect it with privacy. It could be a good idea because when you buy a domain, the address and contact information becomes public, and you get a lot of spam mail. Not spam email as much, I mean, although that does contribute. But you actually get paper mail, a lot of the spam. And a lot of times it'll come to your house when your domain name is nearing its expiration. So if you buy your domain name for 1 year and that year is close to being up, then at the end of that year, you're going to get some spam mail from companies trying to trick you into repurchasing that domain name through them. And it'll probably cost a lot more, and you may not end up owning your domain anymore. So beware of those scams. That might be one reason that you want to pay the extra $8 or $9 to protect the domain name or protect the privacy, because then the spam companies, it'll list like a GoDaddy contact as the primary contact person, and then only GoDaddy knows who actually owns the domain. So if somebody is trying to reach you, you know, and say make an offer on purchasing the domain, like they want to own it, they can still reach you, but your contact information isn't public. Okay, so We'll continue. And I'm not going to protect personal information on this one. I don't really care. You can actually purchase hosting along with this. You can purchase a website builder too. I don't really recommend those do-it-yourself website builder tools. They're not all they're cracked up to be, especially the one through GoDaddy. And I'll show you WordPress a little bit and how you can build your own site with that. Hosting, we're going to wait on. We don't really need hosting right now, but you can get hosting right away. It's as little as $3.50 a month with it gives you a free domain. That's not bad at all. And then you can add email to your domain as well. That is something that usually comes with hosting, so we don't need to add it here. And I only want to buy this domain for 1 year. And it's going to cost me $9.17. Whoa. I don't remember my password. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to place my order. Oh, I have to accept the terms of service. And then, ta-da, we own WDMD100.org. So now, GoDaddy gives you a little control panel. And here, I have a few other domain names in here, of course. Now, the one thing that you want to do is make sure that the contact information is okay. So here, it has my address, phone number, and everything. So we have the contact info. And what we want to do next is we actually want to pick out where we're going to host the website. So let me just talk about hosting a little bit. I'm going to switch back to the slides. Okay. So hosting is yet another, either monthly or yearly fee, depending on how you choose to pay for it. And you can select just about any website host out there. There are some popular ones, and I'll link you to this hostingreviews.io. That's a site where you can look at different Twitter reviews of, just how happy people are with their web hosts. So, above average are ones like the ones called Flywheel, SiteGround. SiteGround is pretty popular. WP Engine, Pagely, all of these different ones. Here's ones that are above average. Here's ones that rank average. Far below average, these are probably ones you want to avoid. So you can get a good idea how happy people are with their web hosts from this site. And let me just click on one of these. Actually, we don't need to go in there. So I actually have my own web server, and I host my own websites, which is what I just set up with this WDMD100.org domain. So we're going to host it on, we're going to say we chose, my server as the website host. And I'll show you how to set that up. So one thing when you sign up with a website host, you probably want to compare their hosting plans. And let's take a look at one of these online just to see what they have for hosting plans. So let's look at Flywheel, and we'll visit their website. Let's see what they have for pricing, and they have WordPress hosting. So they have a $15 a month plan. Theirs is kind of expensive. So one thing, what happens when you sign up to get a website, to get website hosting, is they send you some important information. Let's see here. I gotta find my, where did my GoDaddy page go here? Oh no. I think it's gone. Oh, there it is. Let's pull it into this window. There we go. So one thing that your website host gives you when you sign up for it is that they give you this, what's called the name servers that you need to point your name to. And remember in my drawing, that last step, which was the name servers that control the hosting or where your site is being held, you know, that was the last step in the DNS process where the top level domain server reached out and, hey, here's where the server is. This is the server that controls what the website, and then the server that controls the website sends the website back. And so what happens is your host tells you to enter in name servers. And the name servers for my web hosting are, there we go. Now, the reason why we set this here is because GoDaddy will now go back and tell those top level domain servers and the root web server, root DNS server, that this is where WDMD100.org lives. So when your web, when you're asking for a website, your internet service provider say, I don't have it cached, but I know where the root top level, the root web DNS server is, and it'll ask the root web DNS server, and the root web DNS server will say, yes, I know, that the .com server is controlling this, and then the .com server knows, or .org for this one, .org server knows that, hey, and I'll refresh this here, those, the WDMD100.org is controlled by ns1.rootriverstudio.com and ns2.rootriverstudio.com. So it knows exactly where to go to serve your website. So now, let's see if I can pull up the website's actual control panel. I have too many windows open. There it is. So let's see if I can. It's loading. There it is. So now the other thing that your web hosting service typically also provides, as long as it's not Windows hosting, is a control panel. And this control panel lets you manage just about everything with your hosting. You can set email accounts, so you can have your name at WDMD100.org as your email address. You can set up backups. You can set up, you can look at different logs for traffic. And one important thing that you can do is you can install a database, which is what we need because we are going to install WordPress on this host. So, and what you need for WordPress is you need a database. Oops, and actually, it's probably easier for us to go through the database wizard. So we need a new database. It's going to be WDMD100 WordPress. You got to remember what these are called too. I'm going to call it WP user. And here's a password. Oop. And this is the password that it's using. So remember, make sure you remember the name of the database, the name of the database user, and the name of the user's password, because that is what you need to get into your database. So it creates all that for you, and you want to give your user all the privileges so that user can do everything on that database that you want it to. And then ta-da, it's as simple as that. The only thing that you want to do is you want to upload the files from WordPress. And I'm going to go through the difference here between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. So we have our database ready for WordPress. And let me quick switch to the slides. If the slides are even still open, maybe. Where'd they go? Up there. I think I've lost them. Must have accidentally closed them. Let's open those back up. There we go. Maybe. Does not want to open. That's not good. Open it with a different. There we go. Yes. Whew. I need to skip to. There we go. Okay. So WordPress, all WordPress is, and you've probably heard the name of it before. It's a popular content management system for the web that a lot of websites use now today. So you've probably heard of it before. There are differences, though, between what's WordPress.com and WordPress.org. Well, WordPress, it's essentially the same thing on each portion, but one of them on the .com, they host WordPress for you, and with .org, you host it yourself. So you can take the code and everything and install it on your own hosting like we're attempting to do, and it'll work just like that. So, and WordPress is just a content management system, a CMS. You can manage the pages and content of the website without having to own special web development software. So instead of owning software like I think Microsoft Expressions is one, Adobe Dreamweaver is one, instead of owning this expensive software, you actually just get like your own login to the website where you can go in and edit and publish content. So with WordPress.com, the WordPress is hosted for you for free. But they will, if you want to do certain things, they will charge you. They'll start nickel and diming you and charging you for things like premium themes and different looks and stuff like that. So that's where they make their money. Or there's WordPress.org, which is great if you can do it yourself, which is what I'm going to show you. So let's just take a look at each of those. Go back to the browser. Oh, sorry. Okay. So here's .com, and here you can see you can enter your new site address. So you can put, I can put wilson.wordpress.com, and I can create my own website right here. But I don't really want to be tied into WordPress.com's rules. I would like to do some of my own things. So I am going to use wordpress.org, and right here all I have to do is click the download button and I can download it. And I've already actually done that, because if I download right here on my crummy little internet connection, it'll probably stop the video and I'll have to re-record it from scratch. So I'm not even going to attempt to click on that button. But pretend I just downloaded the wordpress.org package, and it comes down, it downloads, as a zip file. And once you have that zip file, let's see if I can open it. There it is. And once you open the zip file, it looks something like this. Now what you're going to do, and I use FTP software to do this, which it is still open. What you're going to do is you're going to actually take these files and you're going to copy them into your web host directory. And there's multiple ways to do this. You can upload things one by one, which is a really slow way, or you can get an FTP program, which is FTP is a file transfer protocol. You can log in with FTP software and you can upload things by FTP. So let me show you here. So really what I've done, and I'm just going to share my entire screen. There we go, ignore that. Right here I have my FTP software, and I've actually copied those files already from where I downloaded them. And I copied them into what's called the public HTML folder. It's almost like your My Files iNetPub drive, where you can put in website files and they will show up as like a web page. So there you have it. Now, if I go to, let me switch this here. Let's see, this panel. If I actually go to, we'll try WDMD100.org, see if it'll go there. It may not yet, because actually when you put a, nope, is not available. DNS lookup failed. And the reason that DNS lookup failed is because it takes a long time for you, when you put in the DNS information into GoDaddy, and then GoDaddy sends it to the, top internet server in the world. It takes a while for that server to update. It can take up to 24 hours. So we're not going to get to see WDMD.org quite yet. We will wait. And actually, I think I can, there might be an alternate means for me to get to it here. There we go. So instead of, one of the nice things that web hosts also provide you with is an alternate link to get to your website, rather than the actual .com or .org that you just purchased. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to work on the website before you actually make it live at WDMD100.org, just in case you didn't want people to see things as you were building it. So here's the link, and this is what WordPress looks like when you first install it. And it actually has a famous 5-minute install, because if I was doing this myself, just with creating the database and uploading the files from WordPress and going through this, we actually, and I should have written that password down because I lost it. Go figure. You can actually get into the WordPress installation with your alternate link as well. So the things that you need to know is you need to know your database name, you need to know your database username, password, and database host. Well, good thing I still have this open because I need to change the password for my user because I don't remember it. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now let's go. So our database name was WDMD 100 underscore WordPress. The username was WDMD 100 underscore WP user. Password is the new password I just gave it. And the database is hosted on localhost, which is the same computer that the website is hosted on. Submit and run the installation. So we're going to title this site WDMD 100. I'm just going to give my username, WSP login, Kate Wilson. Very weak password. Here we go, and I don't want search engines to index this one, but here we go. I can install WordPress. And ta-da, there it is. I can log in, and this is where I manage everything on the website. So I can customize things, I can create pages. This is something that we're going to go into next time. You don't really need to know this offhand. Or we can actually go to the actual page, which my link was that. And ta-da, there's our site. So that is how easy it is to get a WordPress site up and running all on your own. Okay, so I don't have any assignment for you at this point. Think of some questions if you have any for the exam, if you want to ask them to me on Thursday, or if you would like to ask them next Tuesday before the exam. Make sure you review all of the material that's exam 2 through today. And that is it. So I will see you online on Thursday and in class in 1 week. Thanks. Bye.